So, thank you everyone for being here. It's Ann Bermingham. I have the honor of being Chair of Youth Services. So excited that you're here, either because you support youth services or you have questions about youth services. Had a bit of an approach planned, but I would really rather do it around what are some of your needs or some of the things that you were hoping to get out of this evening. So I'll tell you a little bit of what we have planned, and then maybe tell me what you most interested in or where you would most like to focus, or particularly questions. I know we have a lot of the choir here who support youth services in so many ways. So what I had planned is just a bit of an overview, is to talk about some of the ways in which clubs in our district are reaching out to serve youth. But so we were going to talk about the 6 main areas of youth, which is Interact, which is Rotary Exchange, which is RILA and Junior RILA, which is Rotaract, and New Generations Exchange, Service Exchange. We also have some other activities, ambassadorial scholarships. We have the citizen for the Canadians. There's a couple different special ones, etc. So we were going to hone in on some of those, but what I would really like to find out about is what it is that you would like to learn about this evening, and that may help us to hone in. So why don't I start? Sure, I'll go to Patty, and then Kamal, and then Stan.
I have a question about Rotaract. I'm doing the newsletter, and I've found a contact. I forget where she is. Her name is Yesha, I think, and she
Yep.
and she did a newsletter in India.
Yep.
And to sort of get her into the system, I asked if she could do the Rotaract groups for getting articles for the newsletter. What I can't find is who's in charge of Rotaract in the district.
It mainly falls to me right now.
Okay, all right. If I have any questions, I'll contact you. I'm just trying to find a person in each club that Yesha can contact.
Okay, I can help you with that. It's not as easy as it sounds, but
it's not easy.
yeah, but we can talk a little bit about that. So sure, Patty, I can help you with that.
Okay, that was my only question, was Rotaract, but I'm going to stay and listen for a bit. Thank you.
Well, hopefully we can say a little bit more what we're trying to do with Rotaract and have some ways people can help. Kamal, what would be helpful for you to find out about tonight?
So let me explain the situation that we are facing right now. So we've been approached by a school in Oakville to start an Interact club with us, and we are not in the same district. Let me go back a little bit. We had a junior RILA candidate from our club who attended the RILA, and she was really excited about it, was very impressed. She came back, went back to her school. In her school, which is let me give you the name, Abbey Park High School in Oakville. So they have their own sort of a group organization that does fundraising and do projects. And she's actually the secretary. So, and she's my granddaughter, by the way.
Okay. So we'll answer that. I'm not going to answer them all right now. I just want to gather.
No, but hold. Yeah. So hold on. So the point is that they have already approached the Rotary Club in Oakville Trafalgar, with their district to be an Interact club with them, right? But they also want to be with us. They want to be an Interact club with our club. And
okay. Well, we'll talk about how we can handle that then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just to let you know, I did send an email to David, but I haven't received a reply.
Okay, he's a busy man, but he's online. I've got some, and he's looking confused. So you guys can maybe talk in the chat, but we'll answer that. Sue, what would you like to get answered?
I just wanted to learn more about the New Generation Service Exchange.
Okay.
Because like our club, we just got a charter for an Interact club this September. So we're getting that on the go, and we are partnering with the Grimsby Evening Club to do a short-term and a long-term exchange. So we were kind of, when we saw this New Generation Service Exchange, we thought that was kind of a very interesting thing. And so I just came on to kind of learn a little bit more about that.
And we will focus in on that for sure. Stan, how can we help you tonight?
Basically what Kamal said, we're both in the same group, club. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to strengthen whatever youth link we have now. We have a pretty good relationship with our Roots Youth Center.
Right.
And right now, manpower notwithstanding, or lack of same, in our club right now, I'd like to see us extend our relationship, youth services with other clubs, at least in the Dundas area. We have a St. Mark's preschool kids group. We have a Jewish services, maybe even Dundas Community Services does something with kids, and also we have another service club for kids called the Civitan Club, which I'd like to establish a relationship with. They work with developmentally challenged kids and some young adults, and I would really like to forge a relationship with them. They do great work in our community and are pretty underrated. They sort of go under the radar.
Okay. We'll see what we can do on that. Scott, how can we help you? Oh, I think you're muted there, Scott.
I just want to get some more information, dates and times, because I know I've been searching on for Rotaract and Slapshot and a few of the other things. I just need to get some more information and dates and times so I can get them out to our schools as well.
Okay, right. We can certainly do that. Patty, I know you can speak to some of the things with Exchange and the other one you sent me. Is there something in particular you'd like to get answered tonight? Patricia? Sorry, Patricia.
Not Patty, Patricia, okay.
Sorry.
Sorry, no, I'm kind of here as a resource for anything for long-term, short-term, and adventures in citizenship in Ottawa.
Right.
So
Thank you. Bob Stevenson, good evening. How can we help you
Good
tonight?
evening, and it's nice to see you.
Thank you.
I just gone here to see what's new. Is
Okay.
there
Right, okay. Fire tablet, not sure who you are, but how can we help you tonight?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes?
Okay, yeah, it's Jeff. I'm not very good with Zoom. I think I talked to you about this last time.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's Jeff from the Flamborough AM Rotary Club.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Dan's usually the one that deals with this. He's been doing it for years. So I'm just kind of
Learning.
I'm filling in for him. I'm learning. I'm making notes, and no specific questions yet, but I might have some.
Okay, perfect. David Reed, is there anything in specific you're looking for tonight?
Nothing really specific. It's always good to hear what other clubs are doing to get more involved with the youth. You know, we have the standard Rotaract stuff. We send people to Citizen, the program in Ottawa. We do the youth exchange. We are involved in a lot of different things, but it's always good to get brought up to speed on what changes have happened and if there's other initiatives that are taking place.
Okay, great. George, how can we help you tonight?
Well, I'm here just to learn the basics of both Interact and Rotaract. Kamal and Stan have already spoken about the Interact. And I understand there's a Rotaract club at McMaster University, and I'd like to sort of bridge between our club and them if possible. But first, I'll need to learn more about the basics of Rotaract. Okay.
Great, and congratulations on your bike event. That seemed to go very well. Well
Thank
done
you.
everyone there. Okay, and David Barry, any particular question or as the ever helpful resource?
No, I think one person said the word bridging, and that would fit with Kamel and a few others answers that I think will come out during the discussion. And I think the main objective that we want to do is bridge, and it might be club to club, it might be within the district or outside of the district, but bring these things together and bridge.
Fantastic. And Rudy, how can we help you tonight?
Hello, how are you?
Right.
I don't have any pressing questions. I'm here basically to listen and learn and take away what I can.
Okay, fantastic. Great. Okay, then let me go to, I'll cover all the questions, but I'll try and do them sort of a little bit, group by group. So, one, people were asking about Rotaract, so I'm going to start there. Oops. And just tell you a little bit of what's happening with Rotaract. I'm actually going to start with a video that some of you have seen, but those of you who haven't, and I'll make these available afterwards, certainly as we're talking about promoting Rotaract, I hope we have some fantastic videos, not we as in the district, but we as in our Rotary International, that are just great. And I think this one is really good at getting across what Rotaract is supposed to be about or should be about. So I'm just going to show it. And I'm also going to, I have the address there because I'd love more people to have these on their website. Here we go.
I moved here and really didn't know anyone. I wanted to get started on my career. I felt like I needed to be more active and give back. I wanted to be in a career that I loved. Always learning, always following my goals.
You all wanted to help people and create lasting change.
I was looking for a way to connect with new people and make friends. Something fun and social.
Something that makes me a better person. Something meaningful.
I've grown to know my neighbors.
And work with them to improve our community.
I'm becoming the impactful leader I want to be.
And through it all, I've had fun and met some of the best people.
I found connections, solved problems, and made a difference.
I've built a network, a community.
We took action. We joined Rotaract.
So that's a little bit about Rotaract per se. And I think that all of those reasons, what I like about that video is that I think it gets across that like Rotary, for Rotaract, there's different reasons for each person to get involved in different things.
I moved here and really.
And different things that appeal to them about Rotaract. But I'll tell you just about Rotaract in the world, and I'll tell you about it in our district and answer your specific questions. So the reality is that if we thought COVID was hard on Rotary, COVID was very hard on Rotaract, with Rotaract being mainly in the universities and colleges, but also in the community. In the last year, there was a loss worldwide of 12,000 Rotarians. There was a loss of 43,000 Rotaracts. There was a gain of 12 Rotary clubs. There was a loss of 179 Rotaract clubs. Despite all that, Rotaract actually achieved gender parity. It's the good news of that slide. It's not that different in our own district. We have an incredibly healthy club, which is the University of Buffalo Rotaract Club. And so they are thriving and well, and probably do a social and a service and something almost every week. We have a couple other clubs in our district. The one at State University fell by the wayside last year, and there are people trying to revive it. The Niagara Community Rotaract Club is about very, very small and hanging in. The Brock lost their Rotaract Club last year. McMaster on paper, well, actually by Rotary International, McMaster does not have a Rotaract Club because they lost status by not filing. We keep hearing versions that they're alive, George, but we don't actually know for sure. So we can talk more about that. We're trying our hardest. We do have a somewhat semi-healthy Hamilton Community Rotaract, which is trying to draw in people from, we have people from Conestoga and Brantford and McMaster in that club. I think that might be the healthier version right now. So we have one really healthy Rotaract club and some fledgling, and the ones that were fledgling been doing a lot of active work to try and create events for them, all happening at the same time. I just came off a call today, actually with Yesha. And so we just put together a skill event and social, a networking event and social, and then they're going to come and join my club's breakfast event that they do at Hess Street School. And so we're trying to create events for them to really get it going. So, you know, one of the things I want to share was that some of the ways that Rotary in general is growing is by having satellite clubs. And we're open to, the Rotaract Club does not typically have like a weekly meeting or anything, but they have those options. But we also think you could create more Rotaract clubs by cause-based. So an environmental Rotaract club. We do have in David Barry's club a satellite club with members that are in their 20s and 30s. And that is also a very healthy model that a couple other clubs are looking at. So that is something we're trying to do with Rotaract. But I wanted to share this slide as well, because I think it's important. It shows why Rotarians join Rotary, and it shows why Rotaract. And so they aren't that different, but leading with professional and networking for Rotaract, community service, and then talking about friendships is the key for Rotaract. But we Rotarians are looking for the same, just maybe in a slightly different order. So that's what's happening with Rotaract right now. So what we have is we have the Hamilton Community Rotaract putting on a number of events. We've been trying to put on events with Niagara, Brock, and Hamilton Burlington in different locations, offering different options. But that's where we're at right now with Rotaract. So I know, George, you were saying you just kind of wanted to learn what Rotaract is, and as I say, we're trying to get word if there is the McMaster Club is alive or not. It's been really difficult, but that's where we are with that. Someone else had a question on Rotaract? I know Patty with a presence in each one, so I'll take that offline and give you who I'd give the most likely focus with that.
And just wondering how those events have been going. Like I know you had the one in Hamilton at the pub. I was hoping to be able to make it, but I had a conflict. But
it was fantastic. We had over 30 people. People were blown away. Tons of networking, really great connections. It was absolutely fantastic. Some of you know, not to try and sound too dramatic, but that same night, I ended up having a minor heart attack. And so I then was not involved. And so I was just picking up tonight to find out where things are at. So not that I'm the glue, but I don't think there was as much follow-up with everyone as there could be. I certainly learned that no one had done more events since. So we had a great start and we have lots of interest, and then it kind of died off. But working on another one for George Hamilton, and we at least have the lists, and it was such an encouraging event.
And did I hear you say that one of the clubs exists no longer?
State University is not officially one. McMaster University is not officially one. Brock Rotaract is not officially one in the eyes of Brock University, but in the eyes of Rotary, it still kind of exists. Yeah.
Thank you.
David.
One of the serious problems with, I know Interact and probably Rotaract too, is that nobody knows they have to re-register every year or two. And so it just goes out of everybody's mind. Yes, I'm a Rotaract club.
Yeah. And that's one thing we're trying to do with these community Rotaract is if we can get a community Rotaract, it's a little bit easier conceptually because they aren't going to leave in 3 years' time when they finish university and a whole new gang. So we think there's a little bit more life, but you're absolutely right. There's just so many challenges, and then Rotary, and then charging Rotary, and then the insurance, but we won't go there. Stan.
Yeah, and you mentioned McMaster's situation. Is there any Interact Rotaract clubs in like Mohawk College or Redeemer maybe that you know?
No, but we'd love to,
Okay.
but there isn't. I think Mohawk offers a lot of opportunity, or again, to get those people to become part of the community Rotaract, because there's good networking with some having jobs and some in school and so forth. So any and everyone's help on that would be fantastic.
Have some connection.
Great.
Thank you.
You just made me think of someone who's in charge of student life at Mohawk. So thank you for that. I'm going to, that's an idea too. Okay. Let's talk next about, Interact and I want to, related to that, talk about sort of some other things that we can do with, high school students and, two of the opportunities with high school students. So a couple of you, before I go specifically to the Interact question, was, what else can we offer them? And there are our own Rotary 7090 has scholarships for high school students, so letting them know about that. Some Rotary clubs, the Rotary Club of Hamilton has done this, do vocational days and actually have an event where people learn about all the different careers that people have. And the Downtown Hamilton Club did that last year and was very successful. The Hamilton AM Club does an event where they actually get Rotarians to interview people and practice their interviewing skills. Maybe I'll get you, Patricia, just to briefly speak about the Ottawa citizenship experience, and then I'll talk about the one that Honoring Indigenous People has going.
Sure, it's actually called the Rotary Adventures in Citizenship program. And it has been running since, started in 1951 in Ottawa, run by the Rotary Club of Ottawa. And the premise is to bring students from all across Canada, so including the Yukon, Iqaluit, Northwest Territories. They bring them in from there as well. And the students get together. Recently, they've been putting them up at the university. It's held this year, it'll be May 25th to 29th in Ottawa. It's a cost of $750 Canadian for a Rotary Club to register a student, and they need to do this at this time of year to let them know. And in addition to the $750 Canadian cost to a Rotary Club, the Rotary Club is in charge of paying for the transportation for the student as well. Past participants have been Adrienne Clarkson when she was a youngster in high school, as was Joe Clark when he was a youngster in Alberta. And I ran into him and he talked about, in those days, they got on the railroad and the Via Rail train, and they kept loading on the train until they had this adventure all the way into Ottawa.
And if I'm correct, Joe remained a Rotarian.
Yeah, working for elections all around the world. That's right, in Montreal. A spectacular program, and it's not only for those interested in politics, but it's really talking about what it's like to be a citizen in Canada. And as I said, the students are from coast to coast to coast, and they have Elections Canada, they have senators, they have the excellent ambassadors from other countries presenting to the students. And they discuss and learn about being a citizen, and it culminates with a swearing-in ceremony of new Canadians on the final morning. So,
wow,
excellent program.
What's the age category on that, Patricia?
The aim is to have them in their graduating year of high school. People often, I see these students that arrive and they are very entrepreneur, have started up their own businesses to have their summer jobs, or their student council leaders, but certainly are engaged students. They blow your socks off.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Patricia.
You're welcome.
And another one, and go ahead, Kamal.
So just to let you know, the Rotary Club of Dundas many years ago used to have a vocational day. So with the high school, we used to go in and make a presentation. So as a physician myself, an engineer, a lawyer, whoever would go and make a short presentation. And then the student would ask us questions, so that they have some idea what these professions do. But we
Mhm.
haven't done that, George, but maybe we should start that again.
Well, I was gonna say, if you're looking for something to collaborate with the others, I'd reach out to Hamilton and maybe talk about how you could all collaborate, or to be able to do that in the schools. I'm just gonna go to one other high school program that some of you, and again, I apologize to the Americans because this is Canadian as well. But the Rotary, we have our own committee, the Honoring Indigenous People Committee, and they also promote a youth to youth experience, and it happens at the end of March of 2024. And people apply, and half of the people are Indigenous and half of the students are not Indigenous. They go to Mission, British Columbia. All their expenses are paid for 4 days. They learn Indigenous teachings. They learn about the Truth and Reconciliation. So there's 50 students in total, half Indigenous, half non-Indigenous. And I'm going to have more information shortly about how to actually apply. But if your club is interested, finding a candidate for that could be a really incredible experience as well. David.
And there's gonna be a
sorry.
piece in the newsletter about that Y2Y program.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
great. Good. David.
I just wanted to mention, I monitored a video sort of a meeting after, and they brought in the students too, and I was in tears. It was just absolutely earth shattering, the difference that sort of meeting had for those young people. They really, really made a difference.
Right. Fantastic. So let's go to Kamal, your question about the Interact Club. And so, one thought I would have is that there is more than one club in Oakville. Certainly if you want a connection, I know a couple pretty active Rotarians in the one. But what about partnering, or other thoughts, David, about that one?
Yeah, I would like to see your club meet up with a sort of a twinning with a club within our district, or that club meet up with your club and call it a twinning project. And what happens in this case is that you're bridging in projects and you're competing in projects. You're making things a little more exciting for each of those clubs to say that, hey, they did better than us, so we got to do better on the next time. And it can be an environmental thing. It can be a food gathering thing. It can be anything like that. But encourage the club from Oakville to talk to the club in your district and say, hey, listen, we really wouldn't be able to sponsor you, but what we can do is make sure that you have a good rapport with a club in ours, and do this and call it the twinning. I've done that with Scotland, and that worked out very well because they had a good competition, and I was talking to them just the last meeting. Was talking to their leader for the Interact Club here in 7090, and they said the students already are saying, what are we going to do with Scotland this year? So that worked out. Again, bridging.
So if I understand, we could talk to the Rotary Club in Oakville and tell them that, they have approached us. The best way is to do the bridging or twinning. But what would be the process to make that happen?
You
Like,
talk
I
to
can make
them.
a suggestion.
Yeah, you have to talk to them and say, listen, this would be a good idea for both of our clubs because it would instill something.
But do I have to do something official about that?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Bridge, no.
No. All you're going to do is contact them and say, listen, we've got an idea to do a project for gathering food for the food banks, and you will find that it will grow from there.
Great. So related to that, one of the things, and someone was asking about Ryla, Scott, you're asking about Ryla, Junior Ryla. So one of the things I want to say is you should be seeing my screen now on the 7090 website, correct? Yep. So there are a lot of really great things on 7090 website in general, but let me go down to youth services, which is the last, because it's the best of all the committees. And if you go over here, it has a variety of different things. So let me show under the Interact, which David Barry and Brandon have been working so hard. So again, a great video on what is Interact. Highly worthwhile to show or show in your club. And then David's put in all these different things. So if the Oakville Club says, how do you start an Interact club? You can at least share them some of our information. And so there's a lot of really great information here. Likewise, someone was, so if you go down to Junior Ryla, it actually has in it all of, it has the dates here. The promotional flyers are coming, but it has all the dates of the program right here and the cost, so that you can look at that, and it tells you when registration opens. They also have, I'm going to pull it up here, an amazing video that they created this past year showing Junior Ryla. And I highly recommend that you share this on social media, share it with the high schools.
Providing you with
And I was just going to say, after the video, I want to make a comment about the video.
is incredibly important. We're so fortunate to have two great opportunities here in Rotary District 7090, Junior Ryla and Ryla programs. I think Ryla Junior is such a wonderful opportunity because there are so many different aspects of it, but also incredibly important for life building skills and definitely also leadership skills as well. So far, my experience at Ryla Junior has been really great. I've met a lot of new people and had a lot of fun.
I think these high schoolers should be coming out to Ryla Junior because it creates great leadership. And I think that leadership actually has a ripple effect that can impact on a deeper level throughout society.
So my experience so far at Ryla Junior has been incredible. You know, meeting a lot of new people, doing a lot of new things I never even imagined I'd be doing.
My experience so far at Ryla Junior has been really excellent. I've gotten to meet a lot of great people so far. It's really nice to have so many people come together who want to share a similar experience of like leadership. It's a great opportunity.
I would recommend Ryla Junior to everybody. It's a fun experience.
So it's a great way to meet new people, get out and try something fun, something you've never done before. For youth, if you are curious about Junior Ryla, you think you might be interested, and you have any hesitations, just do it anyways. There's no way that you're going to have a bad time. You're going to make friends for a lifetime, have some really cool opportunities, and you'll absolutely go back to your home and to your school with lots of great skills. And to Rotarians, thank you so much for continuing to support our youth programs in District 7090. They're providing incredible opportunities for our youth. So thank you. And please keep sending amazing youth that we can support in building their leadership skills.
I've met a lot of good people with Ryla Junior, a lot of good students that are very keen on helping and changing the world. And I'd like to see them in the future make a difference.
And for those of you who don't know, that used to be called Slapshot, but we did change the name, and it is Junior Ryla. So go ahead, Sue.
So I just wanted to say, so that video was made by Geek Collective, And Geet was one of the students that our club sent. He went to Slapshot when it was Slapshot, and then he went to the Ryla, and he came back and he changed his life. He changed his course from being a big truck or a large truck mechanic, and he is now running his own production company, website design and production company, and he has, I think, 15 to 20 employees now working under him. And so he's always said to us that was the greatest thing he did was go to the junior Ryla, and then we selected him to go to Ryla as well. And it's been life changing for him. And Sarah, the young girl that was the MC, she's also one of our club members that we sent to Slapshot and to Ryla.
Thank you for that. Yes, and Sarah continues to be engaged in Czech. She was awarded last year a Paul Harris as well for all that she does. And for those looking for Ryla as well, the dates are on the website as well, and we're looking for 20 individuals this year. We're going to hold it at 20, smaller than it used to, but everyone will say it's actually quite a bit more effective. And again, those dates are there, but I think the registration closes in early February. So that's a little bit on those ones. So hopefully, Scott, that gives you a little bit on that you were looking for.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much. Now I know where to look for it. So that was excellent. Thank you.
Yep. Great. So I'm going to answer, Sue, your question on new generation service exchange, and then maybe we can just talk a little bit more about this bridging concept. And also, Gail, I didn't get a chance to ask the two of you if there's a specific question you're looking for. So I'm trying to work through most people's questions here as we go. So videos everywhere. But the new generation service exchange is an incredible program. And I'll tell you about it from 2 points of view. So it is eligible for people that are 21 to 30 years old, that have ideally are picked. So they're more post-university than university or college, and they want to learn more about their vocation. So we have incoming, and we'll be looking to the different clubs to help us. I'm hoping, Patty, we can get some help in the Buffalo area. We had St. Catharines lined up, and Hamilton, maybe Simcoe. But we have a young woman from Brazil coming. She is a lawyer. She has identified 3 main areas of law that she would like to learn more about in terms of environmental, and can't remember the other ones, tax, etc. We're going to have her, Rotarians billet her, so she's going to stay in different Rotarians places. I know in St. Catharines, we actually have some retired lawyers that are going to take her to the courts, but she's also going to job shadow in some of the, it's only job shadowing in this program. But she wants to come for 3 months to do that. And what's great about this program is you come for the time that you can. So if you can get 3 months off, that's great. If you can get 3 weeks off and you want to go and learn how to cook vegan, like we had someone from Mexico come to one of our fellow districts, wanted to come and learn how to cook vegan because they had a lot of people asking for vegan in the restaurant in Mexico. That's what you can do. So we're going to be looking for help for Marina. She'll be coming in probably February to April, or maybe March. And we also, though, would love someone to apply to go out. So believe it or not, we have not, applications are on the district website. We have yet to have someone apply. So the idea is that they apply, through their club. So their club puts them up, but there's no cost to the club for the outbound. It's for the individual to pay their flight. Otherwise, the Rotarians in wherever country they ask is their number one choice with a vocation of mind. We try and put that together, and that is all footed on the kindness of Rotary. So we would really love to get some more applicants to this, Sue. So as you're saying, or as others are thinking, what else could we be doing? Either helping us when someone comes for, say, 4 or 5 days in your area, fantastic. Or if you've got someone who you know of who wants to apply, we would love that. They can be have Rotary roots, Rotary family, or not. So it is an incredible program. It's a fairly new program, and it is brand new to our district.
And when is the application deadline for that?
Anytime you want, any time of the year, where you go on an individual basis. So Patty, you said you want to go in March. You apply now because we need some time to get it in March. Don't apply in February to go to March, but it's all year round, customized around the individual.
Let's get an article in the December newsletter then and encourage people to apply. It's kind of late for November, unless you want to write something up tonight, Anne, but otherwise, let's aim for December.
Okay. So between me and Kelly Kabaya, and we actually just, I just recruited. Thank you, Rudy. Thank you, Rudy. Aisley's joining our committee, and so she's going to help us write in a way that 20-somethings will get excited. So that'll be your first assignment. Thank you.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
Thanks for the idea. That was great. Not yet a Rotarian.
Oh,
But
she will be one day.
yes, she will be.
That's her
Great.
goal.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this idea of bridging. So what are some other ways in which, maybe David, if you want to say a little bit more of what bridging means to you, and maybe we can talk about how else, a little bit to Stan's point, how else can we extend and work together to support our students?
Thanks. Yeah, I look at it within the realm of what Interact is all about. I look at the concept of bridging them together as creating a tool for excitement within the clubs themselves. And really what you're doing is you're taking, in this case, a group of young people who are, like you saw in the young Ryla, the Ryla Junior video, they're meeting other people and they're finding different ideas and they're getting that excitement of learning. I would love to see the clubs work together in 7090 to do an annual project for polio or for environment or something of this nature, and sort of make that a project within Interact. I would like to see the Interact clubs first of all create a curriculum, and the idea there is that many of the clubs are going sort of their own way in terms of how they run their own self-organization. So if we're able to bring them all together and say, listen, within Interact, these are some of the topics that we would like you to follow. I guess that sounds more like an educational perspective, but I think what it does do is give guidance for that bridging to go out.
Well, and I want to talk some other ways that bridging too works. For example, the Niagara College community, when they did Great Lakes Watershed Cleanout, they really put the invite out to to their own Interact, but others. They had 300 high school students helping with Great Lakes Watershed Cleanup. And so, bridging around even some of our projects. I know for the Rotaract,
that's exactly,
we're doing a pancake breakfast in an elementary school, and the Rotaractors like, we'd love to come. Or I'll share one that our club did a couple years ago. We support a school called Hess Street, and they have a very high immigrant population in the school. And so we actually introduced them to Shelter Box, and there were 25 kids in that school who had been in a shelter box by Rotary. And so they were blown away. They didn't know, that it came from people. So we did a fundraiser with them, and they raised, I think, $330 for the shelter box, and our club did the difference. And then we brought the shelter box to their school and showed them what they were giving out in the world. And I think, if we do some things like that, I think they can be really effective.
I think the Interact clubs have to have a direct connection with every club that is sponsoring them, and it's got to be not just a rule of thumb. It has to be a rule that a member goes to the meetings, a member does the supporting of the club, and you can't do the club without faculty advisors. You just can't do it. But you've got to have a Rotarian there too.
Yeah. I see your hand up, Patricia. I was going to ask you to speak to Youth Exchange, but go go ahead and then maybe you can say, because that's certainly another way to bridge is with the short and long-term exchange program.
Absolutely. But I wanted to talk about bikes for farm workers, something David Barry, we had talked about in the past too. And in Niagara-on-the-Lake in particular, they're running out of bikes in Niagara-on-the-Lake. It's been tapped and dried. And expanding that out to the clubs to bring bikes in, the Interact, the Rotaractors, yes, adult bikes is what's needed, but all year round. So linking in with Rotary clubs and transporting them down to, it's the church in Niagara-on-the-Lake that's dealing with it now.
Cool, that's a great idea. Okay, do you want to just briefly and maybe particularly, how many people on the call here are familiar with the short-term exchange program, not the long-term exchange, but the short-term exchange? Okay, maybe half. So maybe do you want to just lead with that, because that's a little bit new, and just briefly just talk about the two programs?
Sure. Short-term exchange is really geared to a summer exchange, but the time period, similar to New Generations, is dependent on the family. So I know in the past I've seen that a student.
And really,
sorry, carry on.
Sorry, a student has it doesn't happen very often, but a student can go for a whole summer in one country and then exchange the next summer with the same partner. Has happened. More commonly, the exchange happens that the student goes usually to out the Canadian students and US students go out first to Europe or abroad or wherever they're exchanging with, and then the other student comes. It's a direct exchange. So you need to have a family that is amenable to doing so. And of course, the student can't work during that summer, which is sometimes difficult to find in our area because our students tend to work in the summertime. So that's a direct exchange. So all the cost is insurance and their flight, and that's it.
And then the long-term exchange?
Well, the long-term, as you were mentioning about clubs going together, this could be very helpful. When I moved to this district in 2017, we had 28 students going out and 28 students coming in. So it was a much bigger program. We currently have 8 students going out and 10 that are in. So it has shrunk considerably. I find that clubs are having less contact with the students who haven't hosted for a while, or they used to do it a long time ago. And it's something that you could bridge together as a club. You could have 2 clubs, for example, hosting a student. It's always the difficult part is host families, as you know. But there's creative ways of doing that. And over time, if you can engage a family that could be past exchange students that maybe aren't Rotarians, that will host. It's amazing how the word of mouth goes around. But as clubs linking together, you know, if you know there's, and just contact us in the district if you want to bring a student in to help out with maybe a fundraiser that your club's doing, or your guys are going for a hike, or like all of those activities. The student remembers those moments when they go out for dinner or have any involvement with Rotarians, and it doesn't have to be their own club, it can be other clubs, and that's where the bridging is quite nice, and it's so inspiring to have these kids come along.
That's great.
Now, if you're interested in it, the recruitment is going currently. The application forms, the way the process works, so contacting with the clubs now, contacting with the school counselors now. Generally, the interviews are conducted November-ish. So by the end of November, you have an idea of a student that you've selected. And the first week of January, we bring them to the district for their more in-depth interviews and some orientation with the parents.
Fantastic. Okay, so that's a quick spin around the main ways in which we provide youth services. So maybe any final questions before we wrap up that people would like to get answered. And Gail, I didn't get a chance to ask you what question you might have. So maybe Gail, you've got a specific question.
No, I don't have a specific question. I'm on a youth committee, and I'm with Lincoln, and I'm just interested in learning.
Okay, fantastic. We love it. Other questions that people have? Okay. Wow, well done. Okay, so
Did-
let me
Does
just,
Stan have a question? I see his hand up.
oh, I'm
Sure.
sorry. Go ahead, Stan.
Just a couple. This is being recorded. When will this be made available for reviewing in case we want to restudy it again?
Aaron, are you there?
I will look to my best friend Dave Barry, who helps me out with that, and see what his timeline is.
But in the interim, what I'm going to do right now is put in the chat the overall PowerPoint, which includes connection
Oh.
to the slides, etc. And so I'm putting that in
Yeah.
the chat right now as we speak. So please download it before you
Thank you.
leave the call. Great. You said you had more than one question, Stan. Go ahead. Was there another?
I forgot it. But that was the most important one. And actually the second one was access to the 790 the 7090 website you mentioned. It's got a lot of information on Interact. Now everything else that we discussed about, are there links on the 7090 website to any of these others, like the short-term exchange, long-term exchange?
Absolutely. So there's information on
Perfect.
all those. The exchange also has their own website as well, which maybe you could put the link, Patricia, in the chat if you wouldn't mind. But in the youth services, you will find also, so for example, Interact, and then it goes through and explains the different parts, how you apply, etc. There's always room for updating, etc. And you also go right here to go to the Youth Exchange website, which then has even more current information. Okay, great. Any other final questions? Awesome. Okay, well, feel free to download that PDF. Go look at the website, reach out to myself, or all the contact people for the different areas are listed on the website. We're also under contacts on the front page of the 7090 website, but you've got my contact information, so just ask, and always give me about a week to respond, but I will respond the best that I can and connect you to the right people.
Thank you.
Great. Great. Patricia's put a little bit more about the Rotary Adventures and Citizenship and any of the other stuff. Again, if you want anything, let me know. I'll stay on in case there are any final questions.